Quick insights, big impacts with Cass Concepts and Cassie Yoder. So you're a business owner and you wear many hats. You've got too much to do. You simply can't do the marketing part of it. What's the next step?
Oh my gosh. We call this like that come to Jesus moment where you have really probably as a business owner or a manager have thought about this for a while. Like, is it something that we should continue to be doing in-house? Or you're toying around with, do I make the call? Do I start looking up, what are my options? And a lot of business owners come to that decision and then they just don't do anything with it. So what I have is 3 different questions that you could ask yourself, and maybe you ask your team these questions. And that way, then you can kind of see, is this a good route to maybe go ahead and do something and partner with, an agency like Cass Concepts? Or is it something that you just continue to keep in-house? And usually most of the time, when you start asking yourself these questions, like the first one, do I have the time? Do we have the tools? And do we have the team to consistently market your business well? I think if you ask that question to your entire team, you're going to get answers that you didn't realize were happening. Mm-hmm. And that's a huge part of this piece because oftentimes you are delegating marketing or advertising aspects of a job onto random employees within your team.
Yeah, people that have no idea what they're doing.
Exactly. And oftentimes, you have 2 different elements. You either have employees that are like, hey, this is not in my wheelhouse. I want to be really transparent. And then you also have the others that, for whatever reason are like, oh gosh, this isn't in my wheelhouse, but maybe I'll Google it. Maybe I'll chat GPT it, And all of a sudden you realize that you're not hitting the mark. You don't have the success because you've asked something of your team. They don't have the tools. They don't have the skill set. And there's nothing wrong with admitting that. And that's, I think, the first question you ask yourself. The other thing to think about is what are you currently doing and what are your current marketing efforts? And so what results are those producing? Sometimes, isn't that the definition of insanity? Mm-hmm. You're doing the same thing over and over again.
Expecting a different result.
Exactly. And you're not going to get it. And so we hear that a lot too, where we say, listen, I don't understand. We make a couple social media posts. Maybe I go to the chamber events and I just don't understand why it's not converting to sales. And we look at that from a very different perspective. So if you're asking yourself what you can measure, but when it comes to branding, there's a lot of things that is not measurable. That's that contact, the boots on ground, the networking. There's an element of you having that personal touch that oftentimes can't be measured, but at the same time, man, does it have an impact on your community and building out your brand. But you have to ask yourself that question. What are you currently doing? And is it actually effective?
Okay.
The last one I would say is, are you at a state that you truly do want to grow? Do you want to launch into something new? Maybe you have a product, maybe you have a service you've been toying around and you keep pushing it on the back burner.
And are you ready for what is about to happen?
Yes, yes. And you know what, Bob, that's a really great point because sometimes something rolls out and then you are not set up, your team is not set up, your business is not set up to handle the influx. And so then what happens? You're scrambling, you're in defense mode. Having these coaching conversations ahead of time with a manager, a business owner, even a marketing department. There's times that we come in and we just assess the situation. Here's what we're wanting to do. What is a feasible timeline? Sometimes just having that to be able to have an outside perspective, bounce ideas and brainstorm off of makes all the difference between a successful launch or successful expansion. Or the other side of it is you just kind of muddle through and you're like, maybe everybody can just kind of stick it out a couple more months, just keep answering the phone calls. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, you have burnout with your staff. So asking these 3 questions to yourself or to your team and really being open to having the conversation, because sometimes you're going to get answers you don't want to hear as a business owner. Mm-hmm. Your team may say, hey, we are really stressed, or hey, I'm spread really thin. But sometimes that's a really good place to be, to have the true, honest answers. So that way at that point, you're able to say, let's do outsource it. Let's call somebody like us at Cass Concepts and let's just see and know what our options are.
Okay. Starts with a conversation.
It sure does.
How do we get a hold of you?
Simple. You can find us on LinkedIn, on Facebook under Cass Concepts, or you can go to our website at cassconcepts.com.